Hey gang, it's Robert from A&G Central Music, and it's time for another installment of Little Music History Lesson. But this time we're going to do very recent music history, and we're going to talk about an American composer named Julie Giroux. Many of you may already be familiar with her works because she has been a very prolific composer for both wind ensemble and symphonic band, concert band. As I said, she's an American composer, and although as a child her family moved around a little bit, her study of music followed her everywhere she went. She began playing the piano when she was about 3 years old and graduated both high school and college in Louisiana. She studied music in college and then went to Los Angeles, where she continued to study music with Bill Conti, who's a very well-known composer for television and film, and she studied with him doing orchestrations. And Julie's known primarily in the band and orchestra world as a composer, but she's also an extremely talented arranger and orchestrator. So this may be a time for us to kind of quickly talk about like what is composing, arranging, and orchestrating. Arranging and orchestrating get used interchangeably quite frequently, but if you think about orchestration, that is how we take music that's already written and organized into a full piece of music and assign the different voices of an ensemble to have the greatest emotional impact, to propel that music from just being notes on a page to the sounds that drive the emotional impact of the music. Arranging is very similar. You still assign certain notes to certain instruments, but you also kind of take the building blocks of the music and put them in an order that makes sense. Okay, and then obviously composing is creating those building blocks. Many people do all three steps. They'll write the music, then they'll arrange it into the final form, and then they'll orchestrate it so that each voice and each note is spoken by the proper instrument. Okay, so she studied with Bill Conti, and she was doing orchestrations and arrangements in Los Angeles for television and film. She also studied with two American legends in terms of film scoring, and that's John Williams and Jerry Goldsmith. So all of this education that she received both at Boston University and University of Louisiana, and then studying with these great American composers, kind of informs our understanding of the literature that she's created. You can definitely see a lineage here of where Julie kind of fits in with the other American composers that she's both studied with and then that have then come after her. So having studied with Bill Conti and John Williams and Jerry Goldsmith, you can definitely see in her writing the influences that these American composers had on her. And of course, she brings so much of her own talent and energy to the music. She wrote her first piece for a concert band at age 12, so she began composing very young. She really, if you look at her portfolio, began composing in earnest in 1997. Since then has composed more than 90 pieces for wind ensemble and symphonic band. She's composed 5 symphonies. She's done countless arrangements for concert band. She even composed a number of solo pieces for all instruments, including tuba, and for herself, maybe not specifically for herself, but for piano and concert band, which that piece she does perform. She's a very accomplished pianist in addition to everything else. If you'd like to learn more about her process and how she goes about writing music, she did write a piece for a book called Composers on Composing for Band, which is from GIA Publications and is in 2 volumes. Her contribution to that book is really very interesting. It definitely is informative on how her process works, but you'll also find she has a very light spirit and a sense of humor that kind of goes through all of that writing that makes it a very easy read as well as an interesting read. Other things about Julie that are admirable and things that maybe people don't know. Composers work a lot of times by commission, right? Somebody wants a piece of music written, whether it's something commercial for television or film, or it's a piece for the art of the music alone, like for a wind ensemble or a concert band. 50% of all of her commissions she does either for just $5 or for free. So half of the compositions that are out there she has done free of charge or very low charge to people. She's even composed works that she's made free for anyone to play forever, which is something that you don't often see in this industry. A lot of times even going back to the times of Mozart, where this was their livelihood, it was their trade, and they would never ever consider doing anything for nothing. Julie definitely gives back to the musical community more than most, I would say. Other things about Julie that's interesting, her television composing has had her nominated for Emmys multiple times. She's actually won 3 Emmys. She was also the youngest person to win in her category and the first woman to win in her category for an Emmy. So her contributions to film and television have been recognized as her contributions in writing for wind ensemble and concert band. She's also entered into the popular music sphere as well, doing arrangements for Michael Jackson and Madonna and Celine Dion and countless other popular artists. And I think it's that talent that she has for orchestration that draws these artists to having Julie arrange for them. You can have a piece of music, but if it's orchestrated properly, the emotional impact of that music is just so much greater. So you could see, because of her talents there, why popular artists would seek her out as well. She's also a big lover of dogs, rescuing dogs that have been turned into like the Humane Society, like that type of thing. She rescues them, and I have read that she always composes with a dog in her lap, and I would like to work all of my day with a dog in my lap as well. And another thing that she might have in common with some of you is that she is a big-time video game fan. She speaks often on her love for video games. She's written music for video games, and I had read that some of her favorite games, like she really loves to play Fallout 4, she loves Assassin's Creed, Skyrim. So Julie Giroux, big gamer in addition to incredibly talented composer. So I do encourage you to seek out the book, Composers on Composing for Band, and it's not very hard to find something that's been written by Julie Giroux. All you have to do is watch a movie or turn on your television or see a concert band, as many of you have probably already performed her music. So there you go. A quick little history, modern history on American composer Julie Giroux. Go check her out. She's awesome.